Hello, Goons. My name is Alex, and 'tis the spooky month. I already uploaded a playthrough of the original Castlevania on the NES earlier this month, but I couldn't finish it. Now, since I did it so early, here's what can be considered an extra Halloween treat. So, I don't talk about this often, if ever, but I love monster movies. Some of my favorites are the classic Universal monster films, Dracula, Frankenstein, and so on. And in the late 2010s, when the studio had plans for a cinematic universe, aptly named the Dark Universe, I was as good as a schoolgirl, I'll tell you what. But, and that's a massive one, things didn't exactly work out. TLDR, the project was canceled due to the box office bomb that was The Mummy from 2017 starring Tom Cruise, so it failed right out of the gate. There are plenty of reviews on the film and project if you're interested, but that's not what I'm here for. After the cancellation of the Darkverse, I had some ideas for how it could have worked, and I wanted to share them with you all. But before we begin though, I gotta give credit where it's due. The inspiration for this video is a channel called Popcross Studios. His thing revolves around a character or a group of characters narrating a story or giving a rundown on whatever he's drawing. This is a similar idea, but with the origin story of the main hero. With that said, let's get the ball rolling. To be honest, I'm not sure where to begin with all of this. Well, just to get on the same page, I guess. My name is Hugo Van Helsing. Forget everything you thought you knew about monsters, because the real things are much, much worse. My story begins on one summer vacation away from college. The plan was for me and my parents to visit my grandfather in London. It was an annual thing for us to do, but my dad didn't have the best relationship with my grandfather. The Van Helsings have a not-so-flattering history if you go by textbooks, calling us mad people, hoax spreaders, cultists. The list goes on. My dad resented everything about the name, but kept it to prove it could be turned around. So he started his own company and... well, I'm getting off track, aren't I? During the whole night we arrived, my dad and grandfather were arguing. Not wanting to be a part of that, I went out to the front porch. That was when the horrifying events that changed my life came into play. When I was outside, I saw a man stumbling through the streets. Like the gullible idiot I was, I tried to help, but then I saw more of him. His skin was pure white, his eyes were blood red and black, and his mouth held two long fangs as sharp as razors. The man leapt onto me and tried biting me. I held him off as much as I could, but this guy was a lot stronger than he looked. It wasn't until my grandfather burst through the front door and shot the man with an 1894 Winchester rifle. "You go get inside!" As I was stumbling, I saw red eyes from the shadows of the streets. I was paralyzed for a moment, but thankfully, my dad came out and safely brought me back inside, where I was hyperventilating. My grandfather immediately looked me over, checking to see if I was bitten. "Are you bit, son?" "Grandpa, you shot..." "That wasn't a man. Not anymore." He told my dad to help him secure the house. They laced the entrances with garlic. Crucifixes were placed around the house, and even my mother was taking part in this. From the windows, I could still see the blood-red eyes from the shadows, and kept crawling closer and closer to us. They came to the windows, but were repelled by the scent of garlic, but not for long. They came back with greater numbers, when my grandfather pressed a hidden button that released metal shutters over the windows. My dad took another gun, preparing for the creatures to burst through the door and the windows. They were pounding on the shutters, screaming in pain, but eventually, they failed. My mother flinched and took me to the basement. "Now, Hugo, sweetie, I need you to stay here, and don't come out until one of us comes for you." So I waited, and waited, and waited. until gunshots filled the air upstairs, followed by screaming. I guess they came from those things that attacked, but then came human screams. My grandfather, my father, and finally, my mother. When I summoned enough courage to peek, I soon wished I hadn't. The walls and floor were painted with blood. The crosses on the walls were knocked down. Large scratches in the wallpaper, and what little remained of my family. I felt sick. My head was spinning. And eventually, I passed out. The next thing I knew, I woke up in a police station, where I was promptly questioned. I knew they wouldn't believe anything I'd say, so I tried to leave it as vague as I could. Thankfully, none of the evidence pointed to me, and I was free to go. But I didn't really have a home anymore. It took a while, but my family had a proper funeral, where I was left the sole inheritor. I brought everything from my grandfather's house to my own in America, where I learned the truth. From the house, I inherited perfectly preserved books from decades ago, scrolls from other countries, and to my surprise, a modern computer setup. After turning it on, I found it was meant for me. The computer held information on many things I thought were fantasy. But after that night, I knew better. It wouldn't be long before I was tracked down. Is this the home of Hugo Van Helsing? And who wants to know? Apologies, son. British intelligence. We're sorry to pop in all of a sudden, but we do need you to come back with us. And if I refused? You don't want to know, mate. Trust us. I was taken back to England with what little choice I had, where I met a secret society that had its hands in every corner of the world. Its name, Prodigium. Immediately, I was brought to the head of the organization, a woman with an ice-cold stare, long black hair that reached near her waist, and a suit that set her apart from the other agents. So, you're the new Van Helsing? The last one. Now who the hell are you people, and what do you want with me? Well, you certainly have your family spirit. My name is Ava, and I am the head of Prodigium, a secret society that has its hands in every corner of the globe. For as long as man has existed, perhaps even longer, there have been monsters. It is our mission to not only study, but should the situation call for it, kill them. The progenitor of your family was a founding member. My world shattered when she said that. I knew my grandfather was eccentric, but a monster hunter? I take it you were never told? Of course you didn't. Regardless, we are on the search for new recruits. The forces of darkness have been dwindling our forces for some time now, and a Van Helsing could give us the edge we need. So, let me get this straight for a minute. You want me to join a group that conspiracy theorists swear up and down is true, take up a family mantle because you guys are that incompetent, and for what? Keeping mankind safe? I've seen mankind. We suck as a society. And ever since I stepped foot in here, you've been giving all this screw everyone else, I'm better than you energy. Spoken like a Van Helsing. Ava smiled for the first time and stood from her seat. It was pretty intimidating to see a 7-foot-tall woman looming over me with a smile on her face. But I gave in. I was officially a member of the Prodigium. There I gained all the knowledge I could, trained in many different fighting styles, and became a practitioner with melee weapons and firearms alike. But that wasn't all. I learned more about science, and how I can create special gadgets. However, stories about my time with Prodigem are probably for another time. Thanks for sticking around this long. I know it's different and not many people enjoy change, but I really like this. If you want more videos with the Darkverse, like the monsters, please let me know in the comments. Also, again, Popcross Studios is the main inspiration for this video, and if you haven't seen him yet, the dude has over 500,000 subscribers. Let's see if we can't get him to 1 mil. With that said, if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like to help the algorithm shenanigans, and of course, subscribe for more content. Until next time, Social Dragoons, remember, reach for the stars.